Being nice often feels like the right thing to do. You're polite, accommodating, and agreeable, believing this is the path to harmony and understanding. But let me tell you something, being nice can sometimes be a mask that hides your true self, your real thoughts, and the depth of your worth. You see, being nice isn't always about kindness. Often it's about fear. Fear of conflict, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. But you are enough, and it's time to live like it. When you're too focused on being nice, you can lose sight of what matters most: respect, not just from others, but for yourself. Respect is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. Respect says, I value you, but I also value me. It's not about being combative or unkind. It's about holding yourself to a standard that refuses to shrink just to make someone else comfortable. It's about standing firm in who you are, even when it's not convenient for others. When you prioritize being nice over being authentic, you start to compromise. You say yes when you mean no. You agree when everything inside you wants to disagree. And in those moments, you teach others that your voice doesn't matter, that your opinions are secondary, and that your worth is tied to how much you're willing to sacrifice for their approval. But I came to remind you that your worth is non-negotiable. You don't have to earn it by bending, bowing, or breaking. Respect begins when you recognize your own value, when you stop hiding your needs to accommodate others, when you stop apologizing for being who you are. It's not about arrogance or selfishness, it's about alignment. Alignment with the truth of who you were created to be. And when you walk in that truth, you shift the atmosphere around you. People will either rise to meet you at your level or reveal that they were never meant to walk with you at all. And here's the beauty of it: when you lead with respect both for yourself and for others, you unlock the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. Because respect commands respect. When you set the standard, people know how to approach you, how to treat you, and how to value you. Being nice may open doors, but respect builds foundations. So stop hiding behind nice, stop giving away your power in the name of being agreeable. Instead, speak your truth with love and confidence. Let your actions reflect the worth you carry inside. Because when you lead with respect, you don't just change how others see you, you change how you see yourself. And that, my friend, is where transformation begins. Too often, people find themselves caught in the trap of seeking validation from others, especially in relationships. You bend, you shift, you twist yourself into shapes you were never meant to take, all to hear someone say, you're good enough. But here's the truth: chasing validation is like running after the wind. It's elusive, it's exhausting, and it will leave you empty. It's time to stop looking outward for what only you can give yourself. Your worth is not up for debate. It's not something others get to assign or take away. But when you base your sense of value on how someone else sees you, you give them power they were never meant to have. You hand them the keys to your peace, your confidence, your joy. And when they withhold the validation you're so desperately seeking, it shakes you to the core. That's not their fault, it's yours. You've tied your identity to the wrong anchor. Let me tell you this: your self-respect must come first. Before anyone else can respect you, you've got to know what you're worth. You've got to stand tall in the knowledge that you are valuable, not because of what you do for others, not because of how you look, not because of what someone says about you, but because of who you are at your core. And when you carry that self-respect, it changes the way you move through the world. When you respect yourself, you stop tolerating disrespect. You stop shrinking to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. You stop giving away pieces of yourself to people who don't appreciate them. Self-respect creates a boundary, a line that says, I love you, but I will not lose myself to keep you. And when you draw that line, the people who truly value you will rise to meet you there. Now, don't misunderstand me. This isn't about arrogance or selfishness. It's not about dismissing others or putting yourself on a pedestal. True self-respect comes with humility. It's about knowing that you are valuable and treating yourself as such, but it's also about recognizing the value in others. When you respect yourself, you set the tone for how others should treat you, and you show them how to respect themselves too. So stop chasing after someone else's approval. Stop bending over backward for people who only see you as a convenience. Instead, invest in yourself. Take the time to learn who you are, what you want, and what you deserve. And when you walk in that truth, you won't need anyone else's validation because you'll already know your worth. When you start with self-respect, everything changes. The way you see yourself shifts, the way you interact with others transforms, and the way they respond to you becomes a reflection of the respect you've demanded, not with words, but with the way you live. There is power in your voice, but too many times that power is muted by fear, uncertainty, or the desire to avoid conflict. You hold back your thoughts, soften your words, and shrink your opinions, all in the name of keeping the peace. But peace built on silence is no peace at all. It's a ticking clock, counting down to the moment you can no longer suppress what's inside you. It's time to reclaim your voice, to speak with clarity and confidence, and to communicate assertively instead of passively. Assertiveness is not about being loud or aggressive, it's about being clear. It's about honoring your truth enough to express it without hesitation. Too often, people mistake assertiveness for hostility, but the two couldn't be more different. Hostility tears down, but assertiveness builds bridges. Hostility is fueled by anger, but assertiveness is rooted in respect for yourself and for the person you're speaking to. When you fail to communicate assertively, you risk being misunderstood. You drop subtle hints, hoping someone will pick up on what you really mean. You use vague language, afraid of stepping on toes. But let me tell you this, when you're passive in your communication, you teach people to guess what you want instead of knowing what you need. And when they guess wrong, frustration builds not because they don't care, but because you didn't give them the chance to understand. Assertiveness is a skill that starts with knowing what you want or why it matters. If you don't know your own desires, how can you expect anyone else to? Take the time to dig deep, to get clear about your needs, your boundaries, and your expectations. Once you know them, speak them. Don't sugarcoat your words or dance around the truth. Say it with grace, but say it plainly. And here's the beauty of it: when you communicate assertively, you create space for others to do the same. Your clarity invites their clarity. Your honesty encourages their honesty. It's a ripple effect that transforms the way you interact with the people around you. Relationships grow stronger because they're built on understanding, not assumption. Conflict becomes an opportunity for resolution, not division. But let me warn you, assertiveness isn't always easy. It requires courage, especially in a world that often rewards silence. People may push back when you start to use your voice. They may resist the change in you. But don't let that stop you. Assertiveness is a muscle, and every time you use it, you strengthen it. You don't have to raise your voice to be heard. You don't have to force your way into someone's understanding. All you need is the confidence to speak your truth and the faith to believe it matters. When you communicate assertively, you step into the fullness of who you are and you invite others to meet you there. That's the kind of power that transforms not just conversations, but lives. Boundaries, that word alone carries weight, doesn't it? For some, it feels like a shield protection from the chaos of life. For others, it feels like a wall cutting off connection. But let me tell you what boundaries really are. They are the blueprint of respect. They are the guidelines you establish to show others how to treat you while showing yourself that your peace and dignity matter. Without boundaries, relationships lose balance. Without boundaries, you lose yourself. When you fail to set boundaries, you send an unspoken message: I'll take whatever you give, even if it's not good for me. And let me be clear, people will take as much as you allow. It's human nature. If you don't draw the line, someone will step over it, not always out of malice, but because they don't know it's there. That's why it's your responsibility to define what's acceptable and what's not. No one else can do it for you. But here's the challenge: setting boundaries takes courage. It's not easy to say, this is where I end and this is where you begin. It's not easy to risk disappointing others, especially when you've been taught to prioritize their happiness over your own. But you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep giving to others at the expense of your own well-being. Boundaries are not selfish, they are necessary. Now, boundaries are more than just words, they are actions. It's not enough to say, I don't like this or I can't accept that. You have to enforce those boundaries consistently. That means being willing to walk away from situations, habits, or even people that refuse to honor them. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it might lead to conflict, but protecting your peace is worth the temporary discomfort. And let me tell you, these boundaries don't push the right people away, they draw them closer. The people who truly value you will respect your limits. They'll see your boundaries not as restrictions, but as an invitation to deeper, healthier connection. Because when you honor yourself, you teach others to honor you too. But boundaries aren't just about protecting yourself from others, they're also about holding yourself accountable. Sometimes the hardest boundaries to enforce are the ones you set for yourself. The habits you need to break, the commitments you need to honor, the promises you need to keep. Boundaries are not just about what you won't tolerate from others, they're about what you will demand from yourself. So stop letting people take more than you can give. Stop tolerating behavior that drains your energy and breaks your spirit. Set the boundary, hold the line, and stand firm in the knowledge that you are worth protecting. When you set boundaries, you don't just change your relationships, you change your life. You step into a space of peace, power, and purpose that no one can take away. That, my friend, is freedom. Words are easy. They flow effortlessly, sometimes without thought, often without accountability. People will say what they think you want to hear, what sounds good in the moment, what keeps them in your good graces. But words alone can be empty, hollow, even deceptive. If you want to know the truth of a person, if you really want to understand their intentions, their heart, their character, you've got to stop focusing on what they say and start paying attention to what they do. Actions are the clearest language. They don't lie, they don't mask, and they don't twist themselves to fit the narrative. They reveal truth in ways words cannot. Think about it, someone could say they care about you, but if their actions show indifference or neglect, what are you to believe? Someone can promise you the world, but if they don't take a single step to deliver, what weight does that promise carry? It's time to shift your focus. Stop being swayed by words and let actions guide your discernment. When you prioritize actions over words, you free yourself from the trap of false expectations. You no longer cling to promises that were never meant to be kept. You stop giving chances to those who continually show you through their behavior that they don't value your time, your energy, or your heart. People will show you who they are if you let them. Your job is to believe them the first time. But let's be honest, this isn't always easy. It can be tempting to hold on to someone's words, especially when they align with your hopes and dreams. You want to believe the best in people. You want to trust that what they say is true. But hope without evidence is a fragile foundation. It's not about being cynical, it's about being wise. Wisdom recognizes that words may inspire, but actions confirm. When you start focusing on actions, you set a new standard for how you allow others to show up in your life. You stop accepting apologies without changed behavior. You stop investing in relationships that are all talk and no substance. And you start building connections based on trust, integrity, and mutual respect, because those are the things that stand the test of time. But this principle isn't just about others, it's also about you. Your actions must align with your words. If you say you value yourself, then live like it. If you say you want better, then pursue it with everything you've got. If you want others to meet a higher standard, then you must hold yourself to that same standard. Be the example of what you want to see. So stop chasing words. Stop holding on to empty promises. Look at the actions, because they tell the real story. And when someone shows you through their deeds that they are genuine, consistent, and committed, that's when you know they are worth your time. Words can spark a flame, but actions are what keep the fire burning. Trust the evidence, not the echo. There is a profound shift that happens when you choose to invest in yourself. It's not just about putting yourself first. It's about realizing that you are the foundation of everything in your life. If you neglect yourself, everything else begins to crumble. But when you prioritize your growth, your dreams, and your well-being, you create a life that is not only fulfilling, but also magnetic. Investing in yourself isn't selfish. It's the most powerful thing you can do for yourself and for those around you. Let me tell you why. When you pour into yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, you begin to operate from a place of fullness. You're no longer running on empty, giving people what's left of you after you've been drained by obligations, distractions, and unworthy commitments. Instead, you're giving from the overflow. And there's a difference, my friend, because what overflows is abundant, joyful, and transformative. Investing in yourself means taking the time to understand who you are, what you need. It means looking in the mirror and confronting the areas where you've been stagnant or afraid to grow. It's not always easy. It takes courage to admit where you've settled, where you've held back, and where you've let doubt or fear dictate your decisions. But when you make that choice to grow, you step into a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your purpose. And here's the thing, when you invest in yourself, you change the way others see you. People begin to notice the confidence in your step, the clarity in your decisions, the passion in your voice. They see someone who knows their worth and refuses to settle for less than they deserve. That kind of energy is contagious. It inspires others to step up, to respect your time, and to value what you bring to the table. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about seeking admiration or approval from others. Investing in yourself is about creating a life that reflects your highest potential. It's about setting goals that challenge you, surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, and saying no to anything that doesn't align with your vision. It's about learning, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself, not for anyone else, but for you. And let me tell you this, when you invest in yourself, you discover strengths you didn't know you had. You start to see possibilities where there were once obstacles. You realize that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. And that realization is liberating, it's empowering, it's life-changing. So stop waiting for someone else to pour into you. Stop expecting others to fill the gaps in your life. You have everything you need within you to grow, to thrive, to excel. Take that first step, read the book, take the course, set the boundary, chase the dream. Whatever it is, start today. Because when you invest in yourself, you're not just building a life, you're building a legacy.